He is the head coach of the 6th-ranked Oregon Ducks. Kind enough to join us here on the Rich Eisen Show on a bye week. Dan Lanning, everybody. Good to see you, Coach. How are you?
Doing great, Rich. Thanks for having me.
You got it. I just want to jump right into it because, you know, your story fascinates me and absolutely fascinates me. Is it true you were a high school coach that drove half a day to try and get a gig with the University of Pittsburgh back in the day? Is that a true story, Dan?
Yeah, drove through the night. I went and taught elementary PE that morning, did weights after school, and then got in my car and drove to Pittsburgh. So worked out.
So you're an elementary physical education teacher.
Yeah, great gig, by the way. Great gig. I loved it. It's like me and the janitor were like the two guys. The principal were like the three guys in the building. It was fun. I loved it, but I had a passion to coach at a higher level, and I'd really been trying for a long time to try to work my way into college, and I didn't have a lot of success. And I'd gotten a phone call from a coach that had just gotten to Pitt, Keith Patterson. He said, "Hey, we might have something." And then I really didn't hear back. I told my wife, "This is the closest I've ever been. I'm going to drive to Pittsburgh tomorrow." So that's kind of how it got started.
What goes through your mind on a 12-hour drive? Because is this from Kansas City, right around the Kansas City area? That's kind of your home. That's your hometown, right?
Yeah, that's my spot.
Okay.
A lot of things, but the biggest thing for me, the whole drive, was I'm not going to regret that I took this chance to see if maybe something could work, right? And I just didn't. I kind of kept picturing myself. I come home every night and I'd sit on my recliner and I would pull up every college staff in the nation. I'd email coaches or write letters. And I just felt like if I didn't make that drive, I'd be sitting there 10 years later kind of doing the same thing, right? Sitting here saying, man, what if I would have?
Right. Do you ever tell that to your kids? Your actual
they know it.
Kids
we don't talk about it very much.
Seriously?
Yeah, we don't talk about it much anymore.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I've certainly mentioned it. I'm a big goal setter. I've always written my goals in my mirror, and I have goals in my mirror right now, so I'm big on brushing my teeth every day, looking at my goals and saying what I want to accomplish. And I think, for me, at least, I've been really lucky to be able to hit a lot of those goals and always been kind of a dreamer. And, it's worked out with hard work.
No, obviously you've graduated professionally from moments like that, clearly at the top of the game right now. But the only reason why I ask that is it is a story about taking chances, taking risks, belief in self. It's the exact sort of stuff that you want to instill in players to win a championship. Yeah. That's why I asked, for sure.
Yeah, and I think they're familiar, but my story's been told. I want these guys to tell their own story, right? And I think they recognize that hard work works. They see examples of that on our team, but I don't need to spend too much time talking about myself.
Oh, even though there's an I in Lanning, I totally get it. So then what are the goals that are currently on that mirror as you brush your teeth right now?
Yeah, it's changed. The number one goal on my mirror is to help my people reach their dreams and goals. Like, I wake up every morning and I pinch myself that I get to be the head coach at Oregon. And, now the way that I feel like I can pay that forward is to help a guy get to the NFL, help a coach get a head coaching job, grow somebody from a GA position to a full-time coaching position. So that's the number one goal on my board. There's a lot of other stuff up there. One of them is growing Caden Niles and Titan into men. I really want to be a great father, not just a great coach. And that's really important to me. I have unbelievable kids. My wife does a Showtime job, and I'm really proud of where they're at. And then I want to win some games, man. There's, Mike Belotti's won 116 games here at Oregon. I hope that I can pass that up someday. We're a long ways away. But there's just a lot of things up on that mirror that I look at each morning and say, okay, this is a priority for me.
How do you stay in touch with your kids and know, what take a pulse check and know how to, I guess, come up with ways to communicate with kids who have a lot on their plate and obviously other things that can take their attention? How do you do that, Dan?
My kids personally, or the kids on our team?
I like it. I guess I should your players in that respect.
Yeah. I think there has to be really open dialect. Healthy organizations have conversational turn taking. They have people that are engaged. So you got to give them the floor. You got to give them the stage at times. For bye week, I had a meeting with several of our guys just to get a pulse of where they're at and then talk about the common realities of things that'll get in the way of us accomplishing what we want to accomplish. Everybody deals with distractions, players, coaches, teams. So how do we manage distractions? And you just put it out there in the forefront and have, conversations where you feel like you can be open and honest with each other. I think that's where it starts.
For sure. And then come up with ideas on how to motivate. I mean, again, I'll just go back to what I saw when you were talking to your players prior to going to the big house, because, again, that's my alma mater, as I'm sure you know. And you were just basically said something along the lines of, in the second half, we're going to look up and we're going to see some empty seats and people are going home because of the way we're playing. And you then stopped the players in the middle of the game and said, take a look, this is what we talked about. How do you come up with stuff like that?
I mean, I think you try to pull motivation from anywhere, but that comes, specifically from Coach K talking about playing, in a road environment. And he talks about that feeling. He talked about calling timeouts in moments and looking around and saying, see, I told you. And that one just kind of played out. But that was definitely from a Coach K talk to his team, and what that played out like for us. And we try to find moments in every game, try to find things that'll relate to our players in every situation, and try to predict a little bit of what the story might play out to look like.
Dan Lanning, Oregon head football coach here on the Rich Eisen Show. And again, I know you've only been there a handful of seasons, but this sport is changing. It seems like every week. It seems like every hour and every minute. How has your job changed from the first second you took it to this moment?
Yeah, I said early on, I think it's more true now than ever, that being able to adapt is the most important trait of any coach. And then having some emotional intelligence and awareness of the people around you and what direction you want to move. But it's changed a lot, and it'll continue to change, and you have to be nimble and able to adjust. And then you got to recognize when you got something really special, really special staff, really special players, like lean in on that and make that a strength, when a lot of people, that becomes a weakness because of everything that's going on in this profession.
Well, because I'm sure, nonstop, you're looking at portals and people are looking at your players, and there's the NIL, and there's, collectives, and then there's things like job openings as well.
Right.
What is your thought on seeing Penn State's job open and Florida's job open, and, LSU's and some coaches who are as big a names as yours getting fired when things just start to go south? In the case of James Franklin, he was in the college football playoffs last year in a 3-game losing streak. See you later. What's your thoughts on seeing that happen in your profession?
Probably more than anything, it makes me grateful for where I'm at, and recognizing how fragile and special it is. And it motivates you to keep working hard, because you realize how temporary things can be if you're not moving in the right direction. But on the same note, I always think a little bit more about everybody else involved in that. The assistant coach, the graduate assistant, the player that signed up to play for somebody, and just how quickly your world can change. Continuity, stability, I think, super important, and it's hard to have. And when you have it, I think you gotta make sure you recognize it and take advantage of it.
And so your interest level in leaving Oregon is less than because of this? Zero.
Yeah, I'm not leaving Oregon. Yeah, as long as I win. That's what I always tell my kids. Yeah. Right. If your dad wins, we'll be at Oregon. So I gotta win. Right. That's how it changes.
That's how it works. I've got this question I'm always interested in whenever I see you on the sideline and I see, the 15th different uniform that you guys are wearing. What is a meeting with Phil Knight like, Dan?
At first you're just kind of in awe. You realize the effect this man has had on sports, on the world, the changes that he's been able to create. There's a lot of admiration, for a guy that, pushed against, always found a way, regardless of circumstance. The Shoe Dog's, one of my favorite books, and I read it before I ever got here. But just the resiliency that he showed to create something out of nothing is unbelievable. And the ability for him to say, okay, I'm gonna hire unbelievable people in this organization. I'm gonna be really excited and happy and surprised with the results. Give them some direction, but see what they're able to come up with. And in any opportunity you get to be around Phil, you realize how much he loves. He loves Oregon, how much he loves football, how much he cares about this place, and how much he just wants to share, in that with other people, which is really cool.
Well, I mean, let me, if you don't mind, share with you the way I see it. Is it like in an office? I think it's just an office that is the most incredibly decorated office. There's shoes everywhere, right? There's like a Jordan photograph that's autographed there. There's, I don't know, it's like some sort of music, like you're waiting for your spa treatment that's playing in the background. You know, am I anywhere near this sort of thing? Like it's mystical.
Unfortunately,
There's something mystical.
no. Most of my meetings, most of the times that I've linked up with Phil, it's very, it's very casual. It's in the locker room post game. Okay. It's in my office. It might be at my house, or it might be at Nike's campus, but it's been a lot of different places. I mean, it's a phone conversation. He's very, he is genuinely who he is, and it's not flash and flare with him, even though Nike, obviously, in our jerseys and everything we have, I mean, he's wearing the same outfit each day. The conversation's very similar, but it doesn't take a lot of pizzazz for him. It's just the opportunity to be able to talk to somebody that's accomplished so much. Dan
Lanning, a few minutes left with the Oregon head coach here on the Rich Eisen Show. So you're from Kansas City. Is it safe to assume, for lack of a better phrase, that when you're not, in the college world and you're popping on an NFL game, you're rooting for the Chiefs? Is that what
I'm a big Chiefs fan. I'm a big Andy Reid fan.
Okay.
Big Patrick Mahomes fan. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Love the Chiefs.
So what does it mean then that the person that could be standing in their way is Bo Nix and Troy Franklin, man? Like, what do you think of, not to put you on the spot here, but this is an interesting situation here,
Blood's thicker than water, and those guys are blood. And those guys, they've been in our locker room. They've sweated with me. But you know what? You always hope that I love seeing the Chiefs win. I'll always be a big Chiefs fan. My guys know that. I got Jeff Bossa that's playing for the Chiefs now. We got some guys that are with the Chiefs, so I can pull for them. But I want to see Bo and Troy, Herbert, Mariota, all the guys.
Yeah, that's right.
Tear it up. We got some guys with the Chargers too. Caldwell. So I want to see all of our guys go have success, and I'm always going to be cheering for their success over my personal hopes. And the Chiefs, we've had some Super Bowls, so maybe it's time to share some of those with some other people.
I like with some Ducks. Listen, I saw Bo Nix over in London, and I got a chance to meet with him and talk with him and, and get to know him just a slight little bit, as one would just in a few minutes when you're interviewing them or seeing them on the sideline. And there's just some it factor about him. And obviously, I think part of his success is the number of reps and snaps and games that he played at the collegiate level. And obviously a lot there in Oregon. And you've got Dante Moore that you're trying to send to the next level right now. What is your philosophy on quarterbacks and how they can get ready for the next level and how long they should get it in the professional level till we can see somebody fully bloom like Bo Nix right now, Coach?
I think everybody's different, and Bo is an unbelievable example of somebody that needed an opportunity in a place where somebody could identify their strengths and let them go flourish. And he got better and better every single year here. I think you're seeing it now in his NFL career. I always felt like I had a coach on the field, with Bo, and his intelligence was second to none. And there's some things that he did really well, and he certainly flourished here at Oregon. But quarterbacks have played really well here for us, regardless, whether it's Dylan Gabriel or Dante or Bo. I think this is a great system for quarterbacks to be able to come and play and lean into their strengths. So what it looks like at the next level, that's harder for me to say. I haven't spent any time there. But when you have good people that work really hard, there's an opportunity for guys to have success.
Do you speak to Dylan Gabriel, say, throughout this process before he got his start, by the way, in London, of all places? Like, what are your conversations with him like these days?
Yeah, we've talked, and what's really cool about all these guys is they still pay attention to us too, and I think that speaks a little bit to what Oregon is. But Dylan and I've caught up, and a lot of times it's more small talk than it is us talking about football. It's more about the relationship. He still follows our guys. He still talks to Dante. They talk to guys on our roster. But I'm really thrilled with what these guys are doing at the next level and what kind of people they are, more than just what they're able to accomplish on the field.
Please tell me you saw Tez Johnson's soundbite about when he heard Buccaneers fans chanting MVP. He thought it was for him.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
You saw that,
yeah,
huh? You caught that, huh?
It was a nice take back to me remembering moments with Tez. That was so cool.
So that's on brand? Is that what you're saying?
On brand, for sure.
You got a good story about Tez and Bo and obviously their relationship that you saw firsthand, and we all know, how they're part of the same family?
Right.
Coach?
No, they're Bo obviously was one really pushing for Tez whenever he first hopped in the portal. He's walked into our office and he's like, Coach, you have to take this guy. And then you pull it up and you're like, he's 145 pounds. Like, what are you talking about? Right. And then you watch the film and he's special. But Tez, he is a ball of energy. He brought juice every single day. I love seeing what he's able to do right now for the Bucs, and I think he's got a great, bright future ahead of him. But his energy is what's special. His mindset. He loves people. He's a pleasure to be around. Super competitive. So yeah, I'm really thrilled for his success.
Yeah, man, you got Bucky Irving there too. They might be standing in the Chiefs' way. Also, Christian Gonzalez. The Patriots are going crazy right now. You got some ducks in a row, if you will, right now.
It's been good
in the NFL, and then your time with Georgia as well, which means the Eagles are standing in the way also. That's right. Kind of almost synonymous. So in the few minutes I have left with you here, how do you now get ready for a college football playoff? You know what's ahead now, and obviously the world has changed in college football. You're gearing, obviously, in a week-to-week situation. That is a clear thing. But you're also gearing for the ultimate, which is 4 games in December and January. Does it change the way that you prepare or build the roster or play people right now, Coach?
Well, I think, one of the great things about this team we have right now is we talk about strength in numbers. And we have a lot of guys that can play winning football. We've had, on probably every game this season, we've had well over 50 people play and contribute in the game. Several games where we've had over 70 guys on the field for us. So I think building some depth is really tough in today's world. When you can find players that are good enough, finding ways to create roles for them is huge. How we've approached bye week, this week is probably a little bit different than I've done in the past. Seeing the end in sight a little bit, how it can be a little longer, and making sure our guys are fresh when we get there to the end of the season. But it's that part's still a long ways away, right? Right now we're pretty focused on us and growth for us this week, and then Iowa as we go into the next week.
Yeah, I know that's Coach for week-to-week stuff, but I'm just saying, like, I'll take another stab at it. The way things went last year and finished up, do you have a
It didn't go so hot. Huh?
Well, I'm just saying, like, I know what your goal is, and I know I probably know what one of the things are that's on your mirror that you're looking at as you brush your teeth. Anything that from last year informed the way that you might do something else this year at all?
Yeah, I think strategically how we utilize some of that downtime in between, I think is really important. We probably pushed in different ways last year a little bit more than I want to. I want to make sure when we get to that moment, we're fresh and clean. And there's a benefit to playing. It's almost like you got to keep playing Saturdays even if you don't have a game. And whether that's us creating a mock game on every Saturday until we get to that point. But we got to be able to utilize that time better. And there's certainly some stuff that if we get to that point, right, and when we take care of business like we were supposed to, then we'll do some adapting to what we did last year for sure.
Well, Coach, I know one of the things that we both have on the mirror that would align is beating Ohio State. So if should that an opportunity happen again for you, consider me a duck on that day. Okay, sir?
Fair enough.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Hey, thanks for the time. Greatly appreciate this chat, and I look forward to the next time. Whenever you're free, I'm always happy to have you on the program.
I appreciate it, Rich. Thank you so much.
You got that. Is Dan Lanning, the head coach of Oregon football, right here on the Rich Eisen Show. Hey, you made it all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Check us out every single day streaming live on Disney Plus and the ESPN app 12 to 3 Eastern.